Abusuanim se Ken Ofori Attah obi en Ghana for kwasia pa. Adenti na wanya akwanya asomman for 8 years. Na afi bebu adwuma wo ye ho akonta wudwane. Why is he afraid of accountability? Kuntuna ase ne ketase hye adwuma bempa na papa we ye yinti a usuro se obeba Ghana abeyi ne ho ano. Papa we portray no ho se ohanbofo, a spotless angel without blemish, but he hid his true colors behind Bible quotes and his white outfits. Ebusuya, enya nwanwa say tworo ne say Satan masquerade as an angel of light, therefore his servants also masquerade as an angel of righteousness, but they are false apostles, deceitful workers, masquerading as apostles of Christ. Papa we kasa baaku mienu a no akotu Bible verse as woye enso wo aban no one ne cousin the president and the oppressive laws and the bu oman no emre mu oden ema manfo lusu won businesses, pension funds and savings. Churane say, woe to those who make unjust laws, to those who issue oppressive decrees, to deprive the poor of their rights and withhold justice from the oppressed of my people, making widows their prey and robbing the fatherless. What will you do on the day of reckoning when disaster comes from afar? To whom will you run for help? Where will you leave your riches? Papa, won't say wedwane. Se wo ye de etna, ankanya ne se wo tete obi man so eda detention center no. Mutumi hihye emra, unjust and oppressive laws, the monsato amanfo savings and pensions so, e may be mu famu wuye. What kind of wickedness is this? Pensioners seek a de ensaka. Obi aye adwuma ne whole life, a contribute to pension, said that you kwa humijie mu a, when you have something to fall back on. Wose me de mensa akoto so. Brame antoto ano a afa ni wadwane. Churane say, abonefo dwane bra obi ampam won, but the righteous are as bold as a lion. Papa, say if you have nothing to hide up, anka odi akukuduro so, ana beba bebu akonta. Anka nya ne se wadwane akotete obi man so no. Say yan wadwane na nya se wafa ho adie, because you will answer to God one day. Bible no awo kan no. Doesn't the Bible tell you that we have to give an account to everything we do? Mu preach virtues but practice vice. Emra oyare mu ye den ma wanim nyina honhono ye. Wo say we ye patriot enti be kwaso ye adwuma. Members of my party NPP ebe press conference say won bon homode wonya ade enti anyi wadi ye kan papa say da. Na afa wawie na bebu akonta wadwane. Na de interesting ne say ensemhunu aka Ken Ofori Attah aye ni nyina no ya sanya ajapa mensa MPP ni amana kotena Joy News so defend no.
He's right though.
This whole public perception, public prosecution is what is informing potentially, and I don't speak for Mr. Ofori Attah, his decision to remain outside the jurisdiction. Because listen, a lot of talk has been made. Now here, my good friend, Prof, make the point that if you've held public office, you ought to be able to avail yourself an account. You ought to be able to avail yourself and answer questions. Samson, you and I are lawyers. What law compels an accused person to even cooperate with an investigator who is investigating him? What law? What rule requires Mr. Ofori Attah? Are you going to please allow me to speak? What law requires him to even be present for anything? The burden in all of this rests with the Attorney General to prosecute and lead evidence to prove beyond all reasonable doubt that the man has a case to answer. If at that point he elects not to defend himself, the court can proceed to convict him. But we made it look as if to say he is under some obligation to be in Ghana to assist the investigators investigating before they take him to court. I want to know from you.
Enti ejapa mensa peso kire me se emra bia ni Ghana ekase if you are accused of a crime, you have to cooperate with authorities. Debbie Ebusuya, let me get this straight. If I commit a crime, I can choose not to cooperate with the authorities. And I said that privilege only applies to politicians. This man is really a joke. The amount of businesses, indigenous banks, Ken Ofori Attah, and in the brother, a collapse no, and the amount of people that lost their jobs in the first term, the fishy contracts he signed whilst in office, doesn't he owe Ghanaians an explanation? The amount of money a papa we use here to consolidate the banks was far larger than the capital shortfall of all the banks combined. And kwa the says can share banks anymore, he could have revived the banks and saved many jobs, but he chose to do otherwise. And you are saying Ghanaians don't deserve an explanation for what they did. Trone say na susukru wa mudi be susuo no, eno ara na odi be susuo amamu biu. For with the same measure that you used, it will be measured back to you. Send your first time, mu hold the banks in Ghana accountable. Na mu jiji ebimu license every omonsem egugu omo adwuma no. Sa pepepe ne hold nso accountable. So bababe answer questions for your time in office. That is not too much to ask. Na mo MPP for there, mo nkoso en defend no. Na mo be che opposition. Ebusuafo me de mu besie nyame nhyira mu nyina. And thanks for watching.